My third-floor, one-bedroom apartment isn't much, to say the least. Hell, isn't much would be a miraculous upgrade. Walking through the front door to be greeted by the same clustered, crowded living room every day certainly isn't much to look forward to. And this being the most capacious room of the apartment isn't very comforting either. To the left, we have the kitchen, whose claustrophobia-inducing size makes even cooking ramen noodles a remarkable feat. Dead ahead is the narrow hallway leading to two more shockingly small rooms, the bathroom and the bedroom. The bathroom bears an uncanny resemblance to that of a commercial airliner with a shower somehow jammed into it. The bedroom is perhaps the most crowded of them all, where excluding the space taken up by the bed and dresser leaves you roughly a 3x3 foot area to get dressed and ready daily. It's much like a prison cell, but with a cozier bed. All this aside, after countless hours of strenuous decorating, I'm proud to call it my home. Each area of my place is decorated in its own unique way. The kitchen with delicately beautiful paintings. In the living room, all of the sports memorabilia I've ever owned. However, the hallway is what makes this 650 square foot prison cell feel like home. The walls on either side of this narrow enclosure are plastered with the photographs of those close to me. Parents, aunts, uncles, siblings, grandparents, great-grandparents, friends, you name it. The subject matter of the photos has never been important to me. All that matters is that the faces of those I love and care for are there to greet me with their same sweet, caring, and loving faces every day, as my day both starts and comes to an end. Home sweet home. I stumbled into my apartment one night, both physically and mentally exhausted after a double shift at the factory. Though all of the lights were off, the moonlight speckled in through the blinds like a foggy haze. I could just barely make out the glowing white time illuminating from the cable box. 1:47 a.m. My downstairs neighbors are going to hate me, I thought to myself as I clumsily took off my shoes and stumbled toward the bedroom. As I proceeded down the hallway, through my half-asleep daze, something immediately seemed off. I paused for a second. But as my exhaustion kicked in, the thought of my warm, comfortable bed immediately wiped any other thoughts from my mind. I trudged on, but it only took 3 more steps for the bizarre, uncomfortable feeling to burrow itself back into my head. Something is definitely not right. I fumbled around my pants pocket looking for my cell phone. My mind was wary, but I was able to turn on my phone and activate its flashlight. I began by first scanning the floor, but when nothing suspicious was to be found, I continued my frantic search up onto the wall to my left. The second I shined my flashlight upon the wall, I noticed what had seemed so irregular. With my light shining directly on the World War II portrait of my great-grandfather Eugene, I stood there in awe of the source of the eccentric feeling. In the photo, my great-grandfather's eyes were no longer focused on the camera like they had been ever since the photo was taken over half a century ago, but rather staring menacingly off to his right. His facial expression had also changed dramatically, going from the smug look of bravery and pride to a face I can only describe as crippling fear. My stomach sank, and I could feel my heart pounding in my ears. I was absolutely stunned, stuck trying to process what possibly could have happened. Am I going crazy? Has my exhaustion got the best of me? My mind frantically tried processing what had happened, but came back empty. I could feel my blood pulsing through my veins like a coursing river. each rapid, frantic beat of my heart pumping more blood than the last. My chest throbbed, my heart ready to beat out of it. Before I had time to step back and try to settle down, I immediately noticed something even more unsettling. My great-grandfather's picture wasn't the only one that had changed. Now, every single picture plastered on this small wall shared the same face as him. That same look of startled, paralyzed fear. The kind of look no one ever wishes to give off. And just as in my great-grandfather's photo, the mortified eyes of those pictured were no longer fixated on the camera, but rather off to their right. I trembled with fear as I slowly turned to face the other wall, scared of what was to come. I shined my light upon the photos that coated the wall. Just as before, every single picture on this wall shared the same petrified look as the others. However, one difference between these pictures and those on the first wall immediately jumped out at me: their eyes. Unlike those on the first wall, their eyes were all gazing off to their left, and that's when it hit me. Their eyes weren't simply staring off into new directions. They were staring directly behind me. Hey guys and ladies, thanks for watching. Wow, 1,000 subscribers. That's fucking awesome. A lot of you guys comment and say a lot of nice stuff, and I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. I enjoy doing these videos. I like creating the music and tweaking the pictures to fit the story. And I really enjoy doing like goofy shit at the end. So I appreciate that you guys are digging what I'm doing. And stay tuned because I'm gonna keep busting this shit out. So be good to animals, even people. See ya.
Ja, snämmar, Bergsbus, Rish.
I'm not really great at expressing certain things, but man, you guys.